Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Cover Zero podcast, the show where I cover the least in the best way possible. I'm your host, Jason Wells. Today is Wednesday, August 27th. We are officially 8 days away from real NFL football. It has been a very busy last week in the league. Teams just yesterday, when you're listening to this, made their cuts down from 90-man rosters to the full 53-man. Lots of players getting cut. I'll cover a few of those in the NFL Weekly Update, just kind of touching on what I think are highlight editions. We're almost there. The NFL season is literally right around the corner at this point. We have made it. This episode, my NFL hot takes for this season, a little bit of playoff Super Bowl predictions, and of course, NFL awards and NFL Weekly Update. It's going to be a very busy episode, so I won't spend too much on the NFL Weekly Update other than look at my NFL hat in my Rob Lowe era. I posted that on my Instagram. I'm going to say the joke twice, though. They don't sell these hats anymore, so shout out to my lovely girlfriend's mom for thrifting this for me. I have 2 of them now, which is equally wild. But yeah, we're going to do my 2025 NFL hot takes, playoff predictions, NFL awards, and starting off with NFL Weekly Update. And let's just get right into NFL Weekly Update here. Couple extensions to start the top. Terry McLaurin back with the Commanders, of course. 3-year, $96 million deal, 32 AAV. Didn't see what the guarantees were or whatever, but AAV-wise, that is the same amount as A.J. Brown. That's $500,000 less than Garrett Wilson, almost $1 million less than DK Metcalf. Terry McLaurin absolutely deserves this money. I am shocked that that's the number that the Commanders didn't want to come up to or meet, or I have no idea. But given where the wide receiver markets are, that should have just been an easy deal for them. Less than DK Metcalf? Yeah, that sounds like an absolute win for the Commanders. Because right now, Terry McLaurin, DK Metcalf, I know who had the higher peak at one point, but I think that Scary Terry might be a better receiver right now. You can debate that all you want. I don't really care. They're in the same tier for me. Just, why didn't this get done sooner? Why did this take so long to get done? Now, Scary Terry has missed all of training camp where he could have been working with Jaden Daniels and really getting that connection down, being his only real target in this offense. Confuses me. Happy for Terry McLaurin. Obviously, need to get that done. The deal lines up with the Commanders' plan with Jaden Daniels eventually anyway, so deal makes sense. We can move on. Next signing here. Trey Hendrickson has renegotiated his 1 year left on his deal, where instead of, I think he was going to get 1 year, $14 million or $16 million or something like that, he is now getting $30 million for this season. He got a raise. Nothing happened. He didn't get the guarantees that he wanted. He didn't get the big extension that he wanted. And it's not to say that Trey Hendrickson caved, but the man kind of caved on demands. I'm happy that he's getting paid for this season, but this time next year he's going to be in the exact same boat, except he might be franchise tagged at this point next year. I don't think the Bengals have any desire to pay him, and I guess that they had a deal lined up, and I think it was a 3-year, $96 million deal, the same as Terry McLaurin. But the Bengals didn't give him any guarantees in the second year, which he wanted guarantees in the second year, where if that's the issue of the whole thing, is not giving him more guaranteed money in the second year, the Bengals need to liquidate some of their assets in order to just pay guys. This is just the NFL now. They need higher guarantees, and if you can't pay out these guarantees as ownerships, you need to find that cash flow from somewhere else because you're too cheap to do it. Again, good for the Bengals for getting their best defender on their team again, because that defense is already going to be terrible without him. I couldn't imagine how bad it would be with him. But another holdout that never really... amounted to anything. Trade requests never really amounted to anything. It never really does. Next signing here, Taylor Moden, the Panthers. I think he's the right tackle. I think that Ike Ekwonu's a left tackle. One of their tackles either way. 2-year, $44 million deal with up to $40 million guaranteed. Great deal for Taylor Moden. Probably a guy that we don't hear enough, and especially national media. I mean, talking about the Panthers, I mean, how bad the Panthers have been the last few years. But I've been talking about it, how this Panthers offensive line has been, I mean, at least last year was like, okay, looking pretty good. Good for the Panthers for keeping Moden in-house for at least the next 2 years. Him getting $40 million guaranteed, that's absolutely incredible for him. Good talent, good player, good deal. Keep going. Tyson Bagent, the Bears backup quarterback, who you may remember came into a few games a couple seasons ago, did pretty well, has the arm wrestler father, and that made big headlines, and Tyson Bagent was a thing for a little bit. But the Bears are keeping him around, a 2-year, $10 million deal, up to $16 million, obviously with incentives. Good for him. And the Tyson Bagent story, he grew up, without running water in his house, and now he's, again, $10 million is $10 million. Like, that's absolutely incredible for him. He broke down, he talked about, how he still wants to be a starter in this league, but being in Chicago, being with Ben Johnson, it's the best thing for his development. Seems like a good story, seems like a good kid. Good kid, he's probably... Do I think Tyson Bagent is younger than me? That's something that I gotta pause this and actually see if Tyson Bagent is younger than me, calling him good kid, because I'm now getting close to that age where a lot of the guys in the NFL are starting to be younger than me. Yeah, he's 25. Yeah, I feel warranted in calling him a kid then if he's... I'm not getting old. It's fine. Either way, good for Tyson Bagent. Good for the Bears getting their backup quarterback. It's hard to find a backup quarterback in this league that you like and the coaching staff likes and the team in general likes. So good on the Bears. We get a reunion for Amari Cooper. He is back with the Raiders. 1-year deal. The money wasn't disclosed, at least not to me anyways. It's a fine move. I don't really think anything of it. I mean, I thought, okay, Amari Cooper after his 2023 season, that ending with Flacco, and then him going over to the Bills, I thought this is what the Bills need, and he was just non-existent for that entire run up there. So I don't know what's with him, because the back half of that 2023, that was still the Amari Cooper that I knew. When he went to the Bills, I have no idea what happened. If he was injured, system, doesn't matter. He's back with the Raiders. That makes sense. They have 2 young rookies who are vying for snaps with Jack Besh and Deontay Thornton. Also, they have another guy who I clearly don't remember, so it's not important. And obviously, Jacoby Myers, Brock Bowers. So, Amari Cooper goes into the fold. Good depth piece. Again, good depth piece to add this late in the process. Jacoby Myers has also requested a trade away from the Raiders. He's on the last year of his, I think it was a 3-year, $33 million deal. Jacoby Myers is much, much better than his $11 million AAV. I can see why he wants a pay bump. Again, I don't think he's going to get traded. I'm sure that they'll come maybe to a Trey Hendrickson type deal where, like, here, we'll give you $20 million this year, go shut up, go play, and then we'll see what happens next offseason. But Amari Cooper back to the Raiders anyways. The Jacoby Myers thing, I don't think anything's going to come of that. Actually, I didn't write this down, but since I'm thinking of it, there was an idea floated out there that Jacoby Myers traded for Kyle Duggar from the Patriots, because the Patriots are looking to trade Kyle Duggar. There hasn't been a willing team yet. Might happen in the next couple days as we ramp up towards the season, but Pat's in a new regime, looking for changes. Kyle Duggar probably doesn't fit what Mike Vrabel wants to do. Kyle Duggar's still a good player, though. You just have to know how to use him. Next note here, Rasul Douglas signs with the Miami Dolphins. Puts my mind a little at ease of our corner room. Now, it's like, I'm not like, Rasul Douglas is great. He's so good. Like, this is like, our corner room is fine now. It's absolutely not fine. Rasul Douglas is our best corner. Rasul Douglas coming off a down year for him in Buffalo. He had to piece together like a few really good years in a row. Last year he was like, okay. But I will take an okay starting corner who used to be really good over just what we have in general right now. So happy we signed Rasul Douglas, and there's been a couple more guys cut who I wouldn't mind having them on the team now too. But right now, the corner room's looking better than I thought that it would. It's still not great, but hopefully the Dolphins front seven is just really fucking good, and our secondary doesn't matter as much. It obviously will get torched at points during the season, but hopefully it doesn't matter as much. The Saints have picked their QB1 to start the season. It's Spencer Rattler. Yeah. This doesn't matter at the end of the day. Neither Spencer Rattler or Tyler Shuck are going to be the Saints QBs of the future. I always thought that taking Tyler Shuck, I think at pick 40, was just a complete waste of a pick, waste of a top 50 pick. Completely. But it also makes sense going with Rattler to start the season anyways, because you can't go with Shuck, and if he stinks, put Rattler in, where it's much easier to pull Rattler than it is to pull Shuck, who you just drafted, and whatever. I have thoughts about the Saints. This doesn't matter. The Saints are going to be terrible regardless of who's starting at QB, so we can keep going. We got a suspension for 49ers receiver Demarcus Robinson, 3-game suspension for violating the substance abuse policy. Didn't say what the substance was. I just always assume it's PEDs when this happens. So, yeah, the Niners going into the year are looking like they'll have Ricky Pearsall. Cameron just sent me the list of guys too, but I'm not gonna. Jacob Cowing. That's a guy that they have too. Fuck, because I'm missing one guy, and yeah, Sky Moore. Ooh, yes, that's something I'll get to later. The Niners traded for Sky Moore. So yeah, those are their 3 starting receivers going into the year, because Ayuk's still hurt. Jawan Jennings is hurt. Put that in air quotes as he waits for a new contract. And obviously, they still have CMC and Kittle, and it's fine. But Demarcus Robinson's still a good, solid player. He's better than Sky Moore and Jacob Cowing. I can tell you that for sure. So yeah, hurts the Niners for a little bit here, but they'll get him back after 3 games. A real injury that hurts their team, though, Caleb McGarry has gone on IR for a knee injury. The Falcons' left tackle, right tackle, because he is Michael Penix's blindside protector, just like Austin Jackson is Tua's blindside. Whatever. I was already not high on the Falcons whatsoever. I'm not high on Michael Penix. I'm not high on the coaching staff. I'm not high on the GM. Not high on the defense. I like the offensive skilled players, and I like the offensive line. But now that Caleb McGarry is out, I don't like this offensive line. I won't say whatsoever, because Jake Matthews has been a really good player his entire career, and Chris Lindstrom is still kicking around there too, but it's looking pretty rough. They'll have a new center in place because Drew Dahlman left to the Bears. New right tackle coming in for the season. Again, I already wasn't high on the Falcons. Losing Caleb McGarry for the season, it's not good. Not good, Jim, I can tell you that. Keep going, though, because I got to go through this. Cordell Volson also out for the season. The Bengals guard, who's, again, not very good, so this doesn't really matter, but a starting lineman for the Bengals is out for the year. They waived him, cut him. I don't know what the injury settlement thing, how it works in the NFL, but the Bengals essentially lost a starting offensive lineman who wasn't very good, but now they have to replace this not very good offensive lineman with other players who just, aren't very good. So we'll see how that works for the Bengals. Not great, all things considered. Couple smaller trades here. Brian Robinson gets traded to the Niners for a 2026 6th-round pick. Obviously, this was looming for, I think I talked about it last week, that Bill is looking to be the Commander's starting running back, so Brian Robinson became expendable, and now he's on the Niners, where he will be CMC's backup running back. Isaac Guerrero has kind of fell out of favor. He's been injured a few times, fumbled a couple of times in camp recently. He's running special teams now, which isn't ever a good sign if you want to be like a starting running back or like a high quality backup in the league if you're doing special teams work. So he's got to work his way back up the depth chart anyways. But Brian Robinson, if you want 4 yards, he can get you 4 yards. If you want 7 yards, he can get you 4 yards. It doesn't mean a lot. does lighten CMC's workload fantasy-wise. I don't think that matters, but having a guy who can just do what he's told, Shanahan is perfectly fine with that. Take away some of the goal line work potentially for CMC. Again, anything to lessen CMC's workload just a little bit while still keeping his production relatively the same. That's what Kyle Shanahan wants. So having a decent 1-2 punch there, I think that's a very good move for the Niners. Another trade here. Kenny Pickett gets traded to the Raiders for a 5th-round pick. Kenny Pickett has been traded again. Kenny Pickett has now been traded 3 times in the last year and a half. I think that sounds right. Went from Pittsburgh to the Eagles, where Howie Roseman's really good at drafting, but Howie Roseman uses his draft picks in very stupid ways. I mean, he traded, a 3rd for Jahan Dotson. I think he gave up a 3rd for Kenny Pickett as well. Both guys Super Bowl champions, so I guess I can't really say anything. But, then Kenny Pickett gets traded from the Eagles to the Browns for a 5th-round pick, and everyone's like, well, that's fucking stupid. And the Browns this entire time was, we're keeping 4 QBs. We're keeping 4 QBs. It's going to be Flacco, Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders. And as soon as anyone was like, we got to make as soon as someone offered something in a trade, they were like, yep, 100%. The fact that they got back what they paid for Kenny Pickett is also insane to me. Andrew Berry, for being as dumb of a GM he is sometimes, he absolutely fleeced the Raiders on this one. Kenny Pickett sucks. And I know the Raiders were kind of in a desperate spot of needing a backup QB. Aiden O'Connell, I think, broke his hand or his arm or something, so he's out for a couple months. Kenny Pickett, it doesn't matter. What is the point of trading for Kenny Pickett? Nothing. If Geno Smith gets hurt, Kenny Pickett isn't saving your season. Trading, again, a 5th-round pick is not something to just throw away. You can find good, talented players in the 5th round still. So I don't understand. I don't understand what people see in Kenny Pickett. There's QBs just sitting on the street that you would have to give up nothing for. Tyler Huntley made a fucking Pro Bowl. Was it a fake Pro Bowl? Yeah, but he's made a Pro Bowl. You didn't have to give up a 5th-round pick. You could have just signed him off the street, and it would have done the exact same thing as bringing in Kenny Pickett. Again, good for Barry for getting what he got back. Stupid of him to make that trade in the first place, so good thing he did get that 5th-round pick back. Bad start for John Spytek. Honestly, I'm spending too long on Kenny Pickett. He's a bad player. He should not be getting traded for actual assets in this league. Seems like a good guy, seems like a good locker room guy. Again, seems like the perfect backup quarterback that you want. You do not trade a 5th-round pick for a bad backup quarterback. I don't care if he's a good vibes guy. You don't give up a 5th-round pick for that. Keep going here now. The Vikings trade Sam Howell to the Eagles for a 2026 6th-round pick. Wait, no, hold on. The Vikings move Sam Howell and a 2026 6th-round pick to the Eagles for a 2026 5th-round pick and a 2026 7th-round pick. There we go. 2027 7th-round pick. I even messed it up that time. Kind of on the same vibe as Kenny Pickett, but at least I've seen Sam Howell play good stretches of football in the NFL. I have not seen Kenny Pickett play good stretches of football in the NFL. Again, doesn't really mean anything. I would not give up a 5th-round pick for Sam Howell. Tanner McKee, though, kind of like the Raiders, Tanner McKee, the Eagles' actual backup quarterback, is hurt at the moment. So they felt like they needed to make a move. But, again, if Jalen Hurts gets hurt, having Sam Howell step in, I don't think it really matters at the end of the day. And for a guy who, when Tanner McKee does come back, will be your 3rd-string quarterback, they gave up a 5th-round pick for their 3rd-string quarterback. And technically the Raiders did too, because I would still take Aiden O'Connell over Kenny Pickett. Whatever, it doesn't matter. And the Vikings, because they got rid of Sam Howell, they signed Carson Wentz to be their backup. And this is what I mean. Carson Wentz, and obviously he could be the Eagles' backup because the Eagles, he just wouldn't do that. I just don't think that would be a thing, obviously, with Jalen Hurts still being the starter too. Regardless, I would take Carson Wentz over Kenny Pickett in a heartbeat. But it is what it is. So Carson Wentz, now on the Vikings. He's their backup quarterback. Sure, whatever. I don't care. bunch of little trades, and there was more that happened today, but these are kind of the ones that I keyed in on, not because they're notable, but just because it is what it is. Vikings trade Mekhi Blackmon to the Colts for a 2026 sixth-round pick. Blackmon had his moments in this Flores defense, but I would assume that if the Vikings GM, Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, is trading away Blackmon, Flores would have given his seal of approval to get rid of him. I don't know who they have in the pipeline because secondary is a very thin position for them. So I don't know who they like. I don't know if they're trusting Jeff Okudah. Hoping that Jeff Okudah has at least a good year. I don't know. I'm still obviously I'm not holding out hope for Jeff Okudah, but I would like it if he at least turned into a pretty good corner. Whatever. We'll keep going. The Jags trade Fred Johnson to the Eagles for a 2026 fifth. Fred Johnson has won 3 Super Bowl rings with the Eagles, so he goes back to them. 2 Super Bowl ring? No. How does he... I'm confusing my trades. Either way, Fred Johnson back to the Eagles. Sure, doesn't really matter. Sky Moore and a 7th-round pick go to the Niners for a 6th-round pick. Doesn't matter. Sky Moore's terrible. But the 49ers I read you off their depth chart currently. Ricky Pearsall, Jacob Cowing, Sky Moore. They clearly needed guys. And Sky Moore's not a guy, but he's a body. Devon Vele gets traded to the Saints for a 4th and a 7th-round pick. You heard that correctly. Devon Vele for a 4th-round pick. Almost the same compensation as what the Cowboys traded for George Pickens. The Saints get 28-year-old second-year player Devon Vele. Mickey Loomis is an idiot. And I'll get to more Mickey Loomis is an idiot coming up here. Harrison Phillips and a 7th-round pick get traded to the Jets for 2 6th-round picks. Harrison Phillips is actually a good player. This is an actual, that's a guy. Very good run-stuffing defensive tackle. Won't give you a ton in terms of QB pressure and pass rush, but he can stuff the middle. This is a good trade for the Jets, who obviously want to stop the run, pairing him next to Quinnen Williams. That's great. Another move I don't really understand for the Vikings because they didn't need to move Harrison Phillips, obviously, but they brought in Jonathan Allen. They bring in Javon Hargrave. Maybe they just didn't think that he fit anymore, but Harrison Phillips is probably a better run stuffer than both of those guys. So either way, we'll see how the Vikings moves pan out. Browns trade Jawan Briggs in a 7th to the Jets for a 6th-round pick, another defensive tackle. Jets just loading up on the defensive line a little bit. And I put this one down, but Asim Richards and a 2028 7th to the Saints for a 2028 6th. Yes, we are trading 2028 picks away already. Again, I don't know why. Maybe because Mickey Loomis doesn't think that he'll have a job in 2028, because I certainly don't think so. Again, we'll get to that. Couple cuts here that I thought that we should talk about just a little bit. Kenyon Green, the former 1st-round pick from the Texans, who just got traded to the Eagles this offseason for Chauncey Gardner-Johnson or CJ Gardner-Johnson and some picks. The Eagles have cut him. So if the Eagles and Jeff Stoutland can't fix Kenyon Green, I don't think that anyone can. Desmond Watson, the rookie defensive tackle out of Florida, gets cut by the Buccaneers. You might remember Desmond Johnson because he is 450 pounds. The Buccaneers, though, were not letting him practice in terms to lose weight. They just wanted him to lose weight. And yeah, I think that he should have been able to lose more weight. And I don't know what he's actually at now, what he started camp with. I know that from the combine or his pro day to the draft, he dropped 30 pounds, but I don't know how many pounds he's dropped since then. Still find it weird that they didn't get him to practice. I'm assuming the Bucs are going to bring him back on the practice squad, because not doing that and then not letting him practice, that just feels mean to be like, we're just going to have you sit there and watch us in the hot sun and not do anything. So I'm assuming he'd be back on the practice squad, but either way, hopefully Desmond Watson, because again, I want to see him on the field at some point. Maybe if he can get down to 390, 380, who knows. Hendon Hooker gets cut, former 3rd-round pick by the Lions. One of Brad Holmes' few misses in the draft, realistically. Just didn't have it. The stuff that he ran and the stuff Tennessee runs in college is very juvenile, and obviously translating over to the program a lot harder. He has not even the tools, I guess the tools, but like the makeup for it, the athleticism, like it's just putting it all together. I don't think it's going to be there for Hendon Hooker. Audric Estime, who was a 4th round pick by the Broncos last year, has also been cut. Slow running back out of Notre Dame. I think he ran a 4.7, fell down people's draft boards, but he was like a bruiser of a running back, and clearly they don't need him anymore with the additions of J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey. Either way, cutting your 4th round pick from a year ago, not great. Trey Palmer gets cut by the Bucs. Trey Palmer, actually a pretty good wide receiver. Someone will definitely pick him up, I'm sure of it. That Bucs wide receiver room is just so crowded at the moment. I mean, Mike Evans, Emeka Egbuka, Chris Godwin, Jalen McMillan. Either way, that's 4 guys. That's good enough. I proved myself. Isaiah Simmons gets cut from the Packers. I thought Isaiah Simmons was going to be so good. Again, he'll get picked up. He'll play a special teams role in certain packages and whatever, but I thought Isaiah Simmons was going to be so fucking good. And maybe I didn't sell my Trey Lance stock, and Trey Lance stock has been on the rise. I mean, if we want to go from Trey Lance's draft night, it was all the way up here, then it's gone all the way down here, and now it's here. But it has gone up recently, so maybe Isaiah Simmons can still be something. I sincerely doubt it, but had to throw that one in there too. Deontay Johnson gets cut. I think cut the 7th time in the last year and a half as well. His downfall has been absolutely crazy. I saw someone tweet out, Deontay Johnson is an elite separator, and he has separated himself from 7 teams. And yes, he has. Malachi Corley got cut. We're talking about guys from last year's draft. Malachi Corley was the Jets' 3rd round pick who just didn't see the field, and when he did see the field, he dropped the ball early in the end zone. He's a wide receiver, but he doesn't really play the position. He's an athlete. You get the ball in his hands, he's a good mover in space and can make guys miss, but someone will have to carve out a defined role for him, but I'm sure someone will. Marquez Valdes-Scantling got cut. He signed a 1-year, $4 million deal with the Seahawks, so that's a little bit of a bit of a surprise cut, but that's just secret Tory Horton coming up the depth chart, at least in my opinion anyways. Juju Brents gets cut, the 2nd round pick by the Colts in 2023. Super, super, super athletic corner. He's just been injured a lot, so someone, again, if you're looking for a project at corner, the Dolphins, we need anybody. Juju Brents is out there. Last guy here, Laki Tassi, also gets cut. I talked about him last week or 2 weeks ago now. Either way, big guard, Australian, former rugby player, 6'7", 380 pounds, can move people, very, very raw, but the potential for him, again, I talked about it, it's Jordan Mailata. That is the comparison. He has played football. Again, he's played 3 football games this is his entire life, and those were the preseason games he just did. So someone should pick him up. The Raider, you should not be allowed to stash that guy on your practice squad without someone stealing him anyways. That is it for at least notable cuts anyways. Asante Samuel Jr. update. He is getting a CT scan in October to make sure his spinal fusion is good. Yeah, you heard that right. Spinal fusion. When I hear spinal fusion, I typically don't think that people who get something like that should ever play football again, but what do I know? I'm not a doctor, and I don't really know what a spinal fusion is in general. Just sounds scary. But yeah, he's getting that CT scan in October. He's been in contact with teams, and obviously he wants that clean bill of health that CT scan will give him, and then he's looking to join someone kind of for the back half of the season. Would be a very good player to add for a potential Super Bowl run, and maybe if Miami poses themselves in playoff position, we add in Asante Samuel to Rasul Douglas, and all of a sudden, I don't know, the Dolphins might look pretty good, but I doubt it. The NFL is installing a dozen 4K cameras along the sidelines, goal lines, and back lines of end zone, giving officials additional angles for instant replay. Why this hasn't been a thing for the last decade, I have no idea, but it just kind of seems like the NFL is usually behind the curve of a lot of things. Again, something that should have been done years ago. It's good that they're doing it now. It's good that we're going to have all of these angles and there'll be more concrete rulings, I guess, than what we've seen in the past. But regardless, and two more just silly things to end it off. The Shedeur Sanders conspiracy theories. If you have missed this, people online have been saying that the Browns and Kevin Stefanski are trying to sabotage Sanders in his development, and how dare they put him out on the field with third string offensive linemen, and Dylan Gabriel didn't get this treatment even though he played with those same offensive linemen. It's absolutely ridiculous. If his name wasn't Shedeur Sanders, if he wasn't Deion Sanders' son and he was just another 5th round rookie QB, no one would be talking about this. Like, the fact that this led ESPN on Monday morning, I believe, yeah, that would have made sense timeline-wise, maybe Sunday. Either way, this led off ESPN that a 5th round rookie competing with a 3rd round rookie quarterback, that the 3rd round rookie quarterback was getting the special privilege. No shit, they picked him 2 rounds ahead. It is what it is. I think Shedeur is a better quarterback than Dylan Gabriel, but that doesn't matter. Dylan Gabriel was picked first. They're going to give him more reps, more time, because they believe in him more. They picked him earlier. There's no grand conspiracy theory. And the fact that anyone actually thinks that, I mean, we live in a brain-dead society. I fucking know this, but, like, it's batshit crazy. And finally here, the Bengals are cheapskates. And we all knew this. This has been no news to literally anybody, but the most recent thing, and honestly one of the most outlandish things that they've done. So the Bengals sent out an email to their Ring of Honor players to be like, hi, we're doing a ceremony at whatever game. We'd love for you to make it, blah, blah, blah. But, like, that's it. It's pay your own way there, pay for your own hotel, like, but, like, thanks for coming, and we're going to market this, and we're going to make money off you guys, but we're not going to pay for you guys to actually show up to the event. I don't know how a franchise can treat, again, they're Ring of Honor players, like, the best of the best that this franchise has seen, and they're being like, no, we're not going to pay for your hotels, we're not going to pay for your airfare, you're on your own, but please, please, please come to this night so we can honor you guys. It's absolutely shameful. The Bengals, again, they're a sad franchise. The owners are, I don't even know what to compare it to. Like really, like, I don't know in what other league, in what other ownership, like, who are as cheap as the Bengals owners? I don't think that there's a real answer to that. I think that the Bengals owners are by far the cheapest ownership group in all of major sports. Ooh, I say that and I just remembered that baseball is a thing, and baseball owners, like, actively tank, like the Oakland guys, the Rockies guys, like, there's a lot of them. So, like, maybe not, but at least in baseball, there's no cap. Like, there's no cap floor, there's no cap ceiling, you just kind of spend what you spend. So a lot of owners just want to make money, and they don't actually care about the sport itself, where the NFL, you're supposed to be competitive, you're supposed to be paying this, whatever. Bengals are cheap. We all know this. We can move on. That is the NFL Weekly Update. Let's get into my NFL hot takes for the year. Holy shit. We have finally made it. I am so excited. I haven't even counted these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have 11 hot takes for this year. One of them's kind of the same thing, and I'll talk about that when I talk about that, but I think I have these in most confident to least confident, or less hot to most hot. I don't know. Either way, won't waste any more time. Let's get into it here. First hot take is the Steelers finish with a winning record of below 500. Yes, you've heard that right. For the first time in Mike Tomlin's career, he is going to finish below 500. Now, I talked about this a little last week when I talked about my least and most exciting offenses, where I'm just not excited about what the Steelers have on paper. All of the individual things, I talked about it, the Offensive line, I like. I like Caleb Johnson. I like DK Metcalf. I like Freiermuth and Jonnu Smith and Darnell Washington. Aaron Rodgers, I think, is still a capable quarterback at this point of his career, but put all those things together, it just sounds like chaos to me. Arthur Smith calling the plays, who, yeah, I've been a big believer in Arthur Smith, but he's a weird dude, and I don't know how this offense is going to be cohesive. It just seems like a recipe for disaster. And I mean, Mike Tomlin has been so good with managing egos and personalities his entire career. Like, that's kind of what he's made his name off of, at least for the last few years anyways, with all the diva wide receivers that he's had. This just seems like a too tough of a battle. It's literally who's going to win out, Aaron Rodgers' ego or Mike Tomlin's just will to win in the Steelers culture. It'll get put to the test. I don't think the Steelers will be a bad team. I think their defense is still, strong. Again, going to be tough, but I think that this is going to be a 7-10, 8-9 season for the Steelers coming up, and Mike Tomlin will finish below a 500 record for the first time in his NFL head coaching career. Next take we have here. The Bears, in the first time in franchise history, will finally have a 4,000-yard passer with Caleb Williams. Again, not that spicy of a take. Passing for 4,000 yards in the year 2025 is seemingly easy. Except the Bears have just never done it ever. Which, again, is mind-blowing, especially how vaunted passing attacks came in, especially the, 2010 to 2020, and it hasn't died off, but it's lessened a little bit over the last couple of years. Where not having a 4,000-yard passer that entire time blows my mind, but I mean, if there's any year to do it with Ben Johnson at head coach and DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Luther Burden, Colston Loveland, Cole Kmet, on and on and on and on and on, he should do it. And honestly, if Caleb Williams doesn't have a 4,000-yard season, the Bears should probably look for other QBs, because I don't know in any world where he shouldn't be a 4,000-yard passer this year. Seriously, though. Just all of those guys that I named, if Caleb Williams is not a 4,000-yard passer this year, I will be absolutely stunned. But again, relatively easy take, so we'll keep going here. A little bit of a less spicy one, but still spicier than the last two, I can say that. The Arizona Cardinals will win the NFC West Division. I have struggled with this one. I have struggled with this division in general. I was so high on the Rams coming into the offseason and post-draft to be like, oh my god, their offense is going to be so good. The defense is young and talented and only getting better. And then Matt Stafford is hurt for basically the entire offseason training camp, doing pseudo junk science. I have no idea. But he's seemingly back now. But a back injury to your 38-year-old, I think he's 38, I have no idea, 38-year-old quarterback, that doesn't make me feel good. The Niners, on the other side, down year last year. They have an easy schedule. They get some guys back, but they lost a ton in free agency. And I've talked to you about their wide receivers right now. Ricky Pearsall, Jacob Cowing, Sky Moore. That's not good. Hopefully Juwan Jennings comes back and the room looks a little bit better. Then Ayuk comes back and then it all looks better. But there's still questions on this defense and how the young players that they added with Michael Williams and Alfred Collins, I believe, is the Texas guy that they got. I think that sounds right. Either way, they drafted a defensive tackle. So if those young guys step up, if the secondary steps up, there's a lot of what-ifs and more uncertainty than there's been with the Niners in recent years. The Seahawks, kind of same thing. I love their defense. I think that this Seahawks defense will be a top 5 unit. But I look on offense and I see Sam Darnold, and that scares me, with an offensive line that's improved, but I don't know. JSN Cooper Kupp, that sounds great, but they kind of play the same position, and all of this to say, the division is completely up in the air. Because I get to the Cardinals here, and I talked about the Cardinals, how I really like their defense, what they've added on that defensive line. I think that their young secondary is really good, especially if Will Johnson just comes in and plays like we thought that Will Johnson, top 10 pick that we all thought he should have been. If he plays well in that secondary and the defensive line, like, I think the Cardinals defense is going to be good. Where I get lost a little bit is the offense, but I can see how this offense can be really good. The Cardinals offensive line, not seemingly strong, but definitely on par with the rest of the division. The offensive weapons, Trey McBride, second-year Marvin Harrison Jr., which should be good. The running game has been really, really strong. James Conner is playing some of the best football going into his 30s. They have second-year running back Trey Benson, who's looking for a little bit more of a role, a little bit more of a to pop off a little bit. And Kyler, another year removed from his ACL, who we all know that Kyler is a dynamic runner and scrambling, and he didn't do a lot of that last year. So there's a world where, yeah, I can totally see things going haywire for the Rams with Matt Stafford potentially getting injured, or I didn't even mention Alaric Jackson apparently has blood clots, which that kept Christian Barmore out of all of last year, where Alaric Jackson's out. I don't like that offensive line whatsoever. Sam Darnold, I'm not sold on Sam Darnold. The Niners have had so many moving pieces this year where it's tough to really slot out of how they're going to go, where, yeah, I think the Cardinals can come in, play really good defensive football. Maybe Kyler, again, because I don't think Kyler's a great quarterback. I think he's good. I think he's good enough where if he just has more stable QB play, not up and down, up and down, up and down, yeah, I can see the Cardinals winning this division. I think this is going to be a very tight division. I think that every team in this division is going to be competitive. But yeah, I can see the Cardinals coming away as the division winners in this one, no doubt in my mind. Next note I have up here is Shedeur Sanders starts in an NFL football game before Halloween. I don't think this is this big of a surprise. I expect Shedeur to at least play at some point this season, but I'll say before Halloween just because why not? Joe Flacco is obviously starting the season as the Browns QB1. I can see that lasting 4 or 5 weeks until probably gets pulled, and they'll put in Dylan Gabriel, and Dylan Gabriel will probably get like 2-3 weeks, and then he won't look good, and then they're like, let's see what we have in Shedeur. And then they'll put in Shedeur, and then it also probably won't go well, but at least they'll know that, hey, we feel comfortable drafting a QB at number 1 overall next year, because let's be real, that's where the Browns are going to be drafting. They'll be competing against the Saints. Those two teams fucking suck. But yeah, Shedeur Sanders will definitely get a couple starts this year probably, but I'll say that Shedeur starts by Halloween. I think that, yeah, this Browns team is going to be bad enough. I think it might take a Flacco injury, like, again, not wishing for an injury for Flacco, obviously, but because I think that the leash with Flacco is going to be fairly long, because I don't think that they're going to want to play Dylan Gabriel or Sanders. But at one point, they got to see what they have in either of those guys, playing with the ones, playing against other starting offenses for the maybe we won't draft a QB. They're drafting a QB next year anyways. It really doesn't matter. That's why I was confused why they took Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round, because it's a waste of a 3rd round pick. I also think Dylan Gabriel just sucks to begin with, and at his best he'll be a fine backup quarterback. But regardless, we can keep going. These are my NFC North hot takes. So the first one that I have, and this is definitely the spicier of the two, that the NFC North will inverse the 2024 standings. And what that means is the Bears win the division, followed by the Packers, Vikings, then the Lions. And yeah, I can see that happening. I think that every team in this division is really good. And it's not like the NFC West I was just talking about, where I think that all of those teams in the NFC West can be really good, but someone will bottom out, it won't go well for them, where all of these teams are going to be good. And this is kind of where, again, I don't think that the Lions are going to come last in the division, just because I think that the Lions are a supremely talented roster and they're coached really well, and I think that, again, I just don't think so. The inverse standings thing I was like, that's a spicy take. I like it. But I think what I like better is that every team in the NFC North is going to have 8+ wins on the season. That seems relatively easy. I might even go up to 9+ wins. Like, the Lions are awesome. I don't care that, no, they lost Ben Johnson, they lost Aaron Glenn, they lost a bunch of other coaches as well. That roster is built so well. I trust Brad Holmes. Like, again, I've talked about it before, but Brad Holmes' hit rate in the draft is around like 60-70%. That is unbelievably high. So yeah, people are worried, oh, they lost Kevin Zeitler. Oh, they lost Frank Ragnow. What are they going to do? Yeah, I trust the guys who are coming in that they drafted just because they just draft good players. And until Brad Holmes stops drafting good players, I'm just going to assume the guys that are slotted in to start are going to be capable starters in the league. The Packers, I'm not very high on their defense, but their defense still has a lot of talented players. And the offense, I am high on their offense. I think Jordan Love is a good quarterback. I like Josh Jacobs. The offensive line is solid. They have a million wide receiver 3s and 4s, but maybe Matthew Golden can actually be their wide receiver 1. Tucker Kraft is awesome. The Bears, I mean, I've talked enough about the Bears and how good I think that offense is going to be, but that defense is still really, really good. And the Vikings are probably the most talented team in this division. They just have J.J. McCarthy starting, and we have no idea what to expect from J.J. McCarthy. But yeah, I think every team in this division is going to have 9+ wins. I don't know if that's feasibly possible with the way the schedule works, but again, I'll say every team in the NFC North has 9+ wins. Next take I have here, the Washington Commanders will be picking in the top 10 in the 2026 NFL Draft. A year after making it to the NFC Championship game, they will be back picking in the top 10. I think last year what the Commanders did was incredible, and Jaden Daniels is an absolute stud of a quarterback, and he carried that team on his back last year. I don't think he can do it for a second straight year. I look at what made the Commanders great last year, and mostly it was Jaden Daniels, but Dan Quinn and his defense played a big role in the Commanders season as well. And I think that defense got significantly worse. They had a lot of free agent losses, and Von Miller's their best edge player right now. That can't happen. Bobby Wagner is still starting for them, and Bobby Wagner was an All-Pro last year. Bobby Wagner is not good anymore. Downhill thumper running a straight line, he cannot cover anybody though. And if you have Bobby Wagner, Frankie Louvu, a little bit better in pass coverage than Bobby Wagner is right now, but still not great. They should just be getting picked on the entire game. Run away from whatever side Bobby Wagner is on, because he won't be able to. The whole All-Pro thing with Bobby Wagner, the fact that whatever. I just don't think that Jaden Daniels will be good enough to carry this team. And again, not a shot at Jaden Daniels. I think that Jaden Daniels is still going to have like a really good rookie year, really good sophomore year, despite of everything. Just, I think this Commanders team is not good. It's just frankly not good. I don't care that they added Laramie Tunsil, drafted Josh Connerly, the offensive line looks better. Like, the weapons suck. It's Terry McLaurin and it's no one. The defense is not good. Like, maybe if Marshawn Lattimore and Mike Sanistril and Trey Amos become all of a sudden like the best corner trio in the league, like maybe the defense takes off, but I sincerely doubt that. I don't understand what the Commanders' plan was this offseason. I think they made a lot of small mistakes. And not even mistakes, but I don't know what their plan was. I don't think they knew what their plan was, because the fact that you just made the NFC Championship game and this is the roster that you're bringing into the 2025 season, it's bad. Again, it's an improved offensive line. It's Jaden Daniels. And then they hope that the secondary is like good. Because their defensive line is not good. The linebackers aren't good. The weapons aren't good outside of Scary Terry. Like, Terry McLaurin and Noah Brown. Debo, like, come on. Bad job by Adam Peters, in my opinion. Like, I think that, again, when you have such a good season and bring in these random vet free agents and it just works out, you can't run it back. And I think this Commanders team is worse than last year's team. And I was not high on the Commanders last year. So a little bit ridiculous. We'll keep going though. So I made a kick return hot take for last year where I said that with this new rule, the There will be a new record for kick return touchdowns in this century, which was 25 kick returns in '07. That's the most since 2001. There was 7 last year, so obviously missed the mark by like just a little bit. So I'm not going to say they're going to have more than 25 returns, but I will say that there will be the first double-digit kick return TD season since 2012. So 10 plus more kick return TDs total. Again, hasn't happened in 14 years. I feel confident it's going to happen this year. I think that teams kind of know how it's going to work. More teams aren't just booting it out of the end zone. It was preseason, though, and preseason, I think that they just want the special teams. So I don't know. Maybe it's not going to be more returns, but I think that teams are going to start scheming it just a little bit better. So yeah, I'll go double-digit kick return TDs across the league this year. Next spicy take, and this is a definitely spicier one. The Jets rush for 3,000 plus yards as a team this season. That has only happened 6 times in NFL history. 7 times if you want to include the 1948 Niners from the AAFC, I think it was. So technically 7. We'll call it 6. I talked about it last week. I am high on what this Jets offense can do, just strictly because of the offensive line and the run game and Justin Fields to an extent. Yeah, Justin Fields ran for 1,000 yards in 2022 with, was it 2022? Whatever. With the Bears. And the Bears were one of those teams to, did they crack 3,000? Yes, they did crack 3,000. So they cracked 3,000 yards with a trio of Justin Fields, David Montgomery, Khalil Herbert, and that offensive line. Justin Fields, there for the Jets. Better offensive line. Breece Hall, I won't say he's better than Montgomery, but I will say on par with David Montgomery. Braylon Allen, I think, is better than Khalil Herbert. I think that the Jets are going to have one of the better rushing attacks in the league this year. They will be the 7th official NFL team to crack 3,000 yards. I think that Breece Hall is going to be Jahmyr Gibbs. I think that Braylon Allen is going to be David Montgomery. Justin Fields is obviously not going to be Jared Goff, but he can scramble, he can run the ball. That's the only way that this Jets team can be successful this year, is if they absolutely run the shit out of the ball, and I fully expect them to do it. Second last one here. It is about the Saints. Kellen Moore will be one and done after this season. He will be fired very quickly after this year because, let's be honest, Mickey Loomis has had way too long of a leash with the Saints. Where am I going to start off with this? There was 3 straight years where Drew Brees was doing everything he possibly could back in, I want to say it was like 2012, 13, 14, or like 13, 14, 15, whatever, in those years, where he was passing for 5,000 yards every single fucking season. And the Saints kept missing the playoffs because Mickey Loomis could not draft for shit. And all of a sudden, here comes the 2017 draft, where somehow Mickey Loomis had the best draft class in, I won't say NFL history because I don't know what other ones are comparable, but one of the best drafts in NFL history, where everyone that he has drafted as of last year was still playing in the NFL. And just off the top of my head, we are talking about guys like, did I not have it pulled up? Fuck, I thought I had it pulled up. There it is. Nope. There it is. When we are talking, I probably just could have went off the top of my head for this one too. But Marshawn Lattimore, Ryan Ramczyk, Marcus Williams, Alvin Kamara, Alex Anzalone, Trey Hendrickson, and Al-Qaeda Muhammad. All 4 of those guys, or why did I say 4? Either way. All of those guys played in the league last year. Most of those guys, literally outside of Al-Qaeda Muhammad, all of those guys had really, really high moments in their careers. Most of them have been Pro Bowlers. A few of them have been All-Pros. That 2017 draft absolutely saved Mickey Loomis's career. And what did he decide to do? oh, we're going for a Super Bowl now, and kicking the can down the road and contract after contract, pushing everything back. And now they're finally sitting in the mess that he's made, and he just continues to make a mess. Instead of, punting on the season, letting Spencer Rattler do whatever he wants to do, bringing in a vet like QB just to play out the season. No, he wastes a top 50 pick on a roster that's depleted from talent thanks to him. And he's not even starting right now. I don't understand what the Saints' game plan is, and I think that unfortunately for Kellen Moore, Mickey Loomis is going to get fired, and whoever comes in as GM isn't going to give Kellen Moore any saving grace, because frankly, I just don't think that Kellen Moore is a good coach in general. I think that he got gifted a very, very good offense in Dallas, where it had its obviously really, really high moments, but again, when it mattered, that offense faltered and fell apart. He goes to the Chargers, where that didn't look good at all. And again, not as good of an offensive line or run game, but you had Justin Herbert, you had Keenan Allen, you had Mike Williams, you had Austin Eckler. You had enough talent to make that offense better, and you were bad. You go to the Eagles, and the first 6 weeks of that season, you didn't use Saquon Barkley the way he should have been used. You lost games early in the season because you weren't good at your job, and then you realized, oh, I should probably give the ball to Saquon Barkley a little bit more. Yeah, no fucking shit. You're the Eagles. You should just be running down people's throats the entire game. So I don't think Kellen Moore is a good coach. I think the Saints roster is absolutely terrible. I think that Mickey Loomis deserves to lose his job. He's just been, bad. Literally that 2017 draft, and then since then, traded an extra first-round pick for Marcus Davenport. Marcus Davenport, I won't call him a bust, but definitely did not live up to any kinds of expectations. Cesar Ruiz, who's still starting for them, but he's okay, not another great first-round pick. Peyton Turner doesn't play for them anymore, a wasted first-round pick. Chris Olave is obviously good, but lots of concussion issues. Trevor Penning lost his job to a rookie this year, not very good. Brian Brees, whatever. Haven't drafted a lot of high-quality rookies in a long time. I just think the Saints team is just bad. They're going to implode. Mickey Loomis should get fired. Kellen Moore should just get fired just because I really just don't like Kellen Moore. But it is what it is. And then finally, last hot take here. And this really isn't a season hot take. It's more of a hot take to sit on. Sorry, I'm trying to type here as I pull out my... because I forget where he actually lands in. Bing, bing, boom, bop, boom. Where is he? There we go. Okay. Now I can go. Bad podcasting there. I apologize. But, yeah, my final hot take for the 2025 season is Texans edge defender Danielle Hunter will end up being an NFL Hall of Famer. And I know that you're probably sitting there and you're like, really? He's had a few good years, but he's not a Hall of Famer. And yeah, I would agree. I wouldn't agree because he's had a few really good years, and when he's been healthy, he has been one of the better edge players in this league. He's been severely underrated for most of his career. But right now, at age... how old is he? At age 30, he is turning 31 in a couple months. He has 99 and a half sacks in his career. I expect him to get double-digit sacks for at least the next couple years and then start trailing off. But I think that there's a decent chance that if he plays for 4 more years, he can get into the 135 sack mark. And if you can get into the 135 sack mark range, everyone who is ahead of him is a Hall of Famer or going to be a Hall of Famer. And I think that with Will Anderson there, who'll get less double teams and a little less attention, but while still getting the accolades and maybe some Pro Bowls under his name. He already has a few. Danielle Hunter, again, I think he's been one of the most underrated edge players of the last however many years he's been playing. He was great with the Vikings and then gets hurt, comes back, and he's pretty good. And then, okay, no, he's back again. Goes to the Texans, has been absolutely killing it there. And yeah, there's no reason to think that he won't stop continuing to produce. And yeah, if he can get 35 more sacks for the rest of his career, he puts himself in the conversation, at least in my opinion, where, again, I think it will be tough. I think that maybe a Super Bowl ring will help with that, maybe an All-Pro nod. But yeah, I'll put I was going to put a stamp on it, but that's, I don't know, like, I'll put my seal of approval, for whatever that means anyways, on him making the Hall of Fame. I think, again, there's a decent chance, there's a reason this is my last hot take, because it is a hot take, but Danielle Hunter making the Hall of Fame isn't as crazy as it sounds. 35 more sacks for his career, that puts him up with some all-timers, and it's very hard to ignore when you have that many sacks in your career. I can say that. So those are my hot takes for the 2025 NFL season. Okay, where do I start off next? Do I want to start off with my playoff teams? I guess I'll start off with my playoff team. So, in terms of actual playoff teams, picking each 7 that are going to make it, I have no idea. And yeah, that might sound like a cop-out, but to me, off the top of my head, the teams that I know for a fact that are going to be there come January, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Ravens. Then we got the Eagles. I'll say the Texans just because that division sucks. The Texans. The Bucks. And who am I forgetting? Let's see. And again, someone from the NFC North is going to make it. That's a cutthroat division. So, like I said, I'm confident in the Chiefs, the Bills, the Ravens, the Bucks, the Eagles, and the Texans, just because their division stinks. The rest of those teams, I have no idea. That's 6 teams that I'm confident in that will make the playoffs. Outside of that, we have, I'll just go from each division, a team like the Dolphins, a team like the Patriots, we got the Broncos, we have the Chargers, the Steelers, the Bengals, the Jags, potentially, I doubt it, but I'll just say it, the entire NFC West, the entire NFC North, the Panthers, maybe the Cowboys, but I doubt it. There's a lot of teams to pick from. Like, there's a lot of teams in that range that just can go either way. I think I said this last year too, where this is one of the most competitive years I've seen in the NFL, where I don't know who's actually going to be truly bad. And as I'm saying that, it's going to be the Browns and the Saints that are going to be truly bad. But 2 teams that are like, oh, they stink, and everyone else is like, okay, no, you can be pretty good, because even some of the teams I did make, like, I think the Colts have a really good roster, just Daniel Jones is their QB. I like what the Raiders are doing on offense, but it's still not like, I think that they'll all be competitive at the end of the day. So, in terms of picking playoff teams, picking division winners, not going to do it. So, I'll just skip to my AFC, NFC championship matchups. I'll start off with the AFC, because it's more chalk, it's much easier. Because I think that the cream of the crop of the AFC is still the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Ravens. And I don't think that any team can get up to that level. Like, really. Maybe they're Broncos if their defense is like elite, and Bo Nix is what he does last year and everything just a little bit better on offense. But, like, even then, I'm still not confident whatsoever in the Broncos. So my AFC Championship matchup will be the Bills versus the Ravens. Yes, one of those teams overcame the Chiefs to make it to that game. I'm not doing seeding, so I don't know who beat the Chiefs in this weird hypothetical that I'm doing. That's my AFC matchup. My NFC matchup, a little bit different. I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I am very high on the Buccaneers this year. When Tristan Wirfs gets back, they have one of the best offensive lines in the league. They have weapon on weapon on weapon. I love their running back trio, really, with Bucky Irving, Sean Tucker, and Rachaad White. I think their defense has a lot of high-quality players on it as well. And for who they'll be going up against. I didn't pick the Eagles. I wanted to pick the Eagles, but again, it was too chalk, and I was like, they're switching coordinators again. They promoted from within. We'll see how that goes, but and then in terms of other things, like maybe the Lions, but again, I think the NFC North kind of cannibalizes itself. As I say that, I did pick someone from the NFC North, though. I went with the Minnesota Vikings, and might be a little bit crazy, might be a little bit like, seriously, like, we don't even know what J.J. McCarthy is, and yeah, I have no idea what J.J. McCarthy is. That's fair. But at the end of the day, I think that Kevin O'Connell is an extremely good head coach. I think that J.J. McCarthy has the tools and like the moldable tools to be a quality quarterback for the Vikings. I don't know if he can be a quality quarterback outside of that system and what O'Connell tells him to do. Potentially, but again, going into year 2, he's in the perfect system of what Kevin O'Connell does, and that improved O-line, improved run game. Their wide receiver position's a little thin right now because Addison's suspended and Justin Jefferson's hurt, but he'll be fine for week 1. But again, I think they'll be fine. I think that their defense has gotten better. I think Brian Flores is an insane defensive coach as well. I think that this Viking, again, it all hinges on J.J. McCarthy, but I think that the Vikings can have a really good season if J.J. McCarthy ends up being a good quarterback. He doesn't need to be top 5, top 10 good. He just needs to be in that like 10 to 20 tier where he's good enough with the team around him really not carrying, but everyone just playing at the same level, essentially. And in terms of my Super Bowl matchup, the Ravens defeat the Buccaneers in the Super Bowl. Yeah, bit of a hot take. Not really. I don't know. The Ravens are really good. I love their defense. The offense is still great. Lamar is awesome. I think the Bucs are off. I mean, I just talked about them, but that is my Super Bowl pick. That is my Super Bowl matchup. The Ravens defeating the Buccaneers. Let's talk about some awards here now. So, I did last year. I did my own awards with some weirder awards and more like specific awards. So I'm not going to talk about those. I'm just going to talk about the actual NFL awards that we can all bet on and all that fun stuff. So I'll start off with Coach of the Year because it is the least fun one to talk about. But I have Arizona Cardinals head coach Jonathan Gannon winning Coach of the Year at plus 1,400. I just told you my hot takes. I think that the Cardinals have a really good chance to win this division. And if the Cardinals win that division, why shouldn't Jonathan Gannon be Coach of the Year? To me, that would be probably an 11-ish win team to win that division. I'm high on them. It makes sense in my opinion. I'm going to do a dark horse for each of these two. So my dark horse is Mike McDaniel, the Dolphins head coach at plus 3,500. Obviously a bit of a homer pick. I believe that the Dolphins are completely boom or bust. Mike McDaniel is also the favorite to be the first head coach fired this year. So the fact that I'm picking him for Coach of the Year, again, boom or bust truly. But I think we can be a good team. And if we make the playoffs, if we overcome, like the media has been bashing up, no one is picking us to be good essentially this year. So if we overcome the odds and we make the playoffs, maybe win the division, I don't know. But Mike McDaniel plus 3,500, not a bad. Again, I'm not betting it, but like not a bad pick. You don't bet it either. We have a new award this year. We have Protector of the Year for the best offensive lineman in the league. This one is going to be pretty chalk. To me, at the start of the year, there was only 3 people who could win this award, and it's Lane Johnson, Penei Sewell, and Tristan Wirfs. Then Tristan Wirfs is going to miss the first month of the season, so really it's going to be Lane Johnson and Penei Sewell. And I just think because Lane Johnson is going into year 12, future Hall of Famer, I think that he will be the first player to win the Protector of the Year just because of longevity and all of those things. So Lane Johnson plus 750 Protector of the Year. As a dark horse, Christian Darrisaw plus 3,000. I think that this Vikings offense will still be really good regardless of J.J. McCarthy. Darrisaw, doesn't get the credit he deserves. Like, I think he's totally a top 10 tackle in the league, doesn't get the hype. Now that interior is built up. I mean, the rest of the offensive line is built up with Darisaw being the star on it. So maybe. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Abdul Carter, plus 225. Pretty cut and dry. He was the best defensive player in the class. I think he's by far the best defensive player in the class. I think that Giants defensive line is going to be awesome. He won't have to deal with a ton of double teams or triple teams because Dexter Lawrence and Brian Burns exist also on that defensive line. So Abdul Carter, I think, will be able to get after the quarterbacks this year. I think he'll probably have a 10-plus sack season. Would not surprise me at all. As a dark horse anyways, Jahdae Barron, the first-round pick by the Broncos at plus 2,200. He's just going to be a chess piece for them. He can play outside corner, he can play nickel, he can play a bit of safety. They're going to ask him to do everything, and chess pieces like that are just intriguing, especially on a defense that I assume is going to be top 3 in the league for this Broncos team. So Jahdae Barron plus 2,200 maybe. And then I have the Panthers rookie edges with Nick Scordon at plus 5,000 and Princely Umanmielen at plus 15,000. Nick Scordon does have a collapsed lung, and I don't know what his timetable is, but collapsed lungs don't sound good. So maybe a little bit wary on that. But Princely Umanmielen, plus 15,000, looking like he's going to be one of the starters on this Panthers team, I'd imagine. Looked pretty good in preseason. We'll see. That's obviously a long shot, but again, we'll see. Offensive Rookie of the Year, again, going chalk. Ashton Jeanty, plus 275. I think that the Raiders are going to want to establish the run a shit ton. Ashton Jeanty is the best running back drafted, I guess, since like Bijan, but like since Saquon. He's absolutely electric. Yeah, I don't really have to sell you on Ashton Jeanty. He's that good. I mean, there's a reason he's plus 275. Other guy, though, who, not a dark horse because you kind of can't be, Tet McMillan, plus 1,200. He's going to be the Panthers wide receiver 1. I think that this Panthers offense is going to dramatically improve. Bryce Young in year 3. We saw some really nice things at the end of year 2 from him. He will continue that into year 3. He has a wide receiver 1. He has a run game. He has an offensive line. Tet McMillan could be in line for a big season, so him at plus 1,200 is also a bet that I would like to make. Bit of a dark horse. It is Matthew Golden at plus 2,500 for the Green Bay Packers. The Packers have just desperately needed a wide receiver 1. And I don't even think that Matthew Golden is a wide receiver 1 in terms of what an actual wide receiver 1 is, in my opinion. Guys like Jamar, CD, Justin Jefferson. I don't think Matthew Golden will ever be that. But can Matthew Golden be a T. Higgins? I think so. And like be on that level where being at that level is still well above guys like Jaden Reed, Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, who all have their roles but aren't studs. Where I think that Matthew Golden can come in here, immediately be the wide receiver 1 for this team, be an actual good, consistent wide receiver that they need consistently. I think Jordan Love has the arm talent to turn this into a high-flying offense just a little bit. Wouldn't shock me if Golden finishes with around 1,000 yards on the season just in general, but if things really go off, yeah, 1,200-yard season I don't think is out of the realm of possibilities for him. Now we are on to Defensive Player of the Year. I picked Aiden Hutchinson last year, and he was going to win it. And then he gets hurt, and then it is what it is. Not picking Aiden Hutchinson this year, because that seems like everyone's favorite pick to make. I'm going with Will Anderson. I am going with the Texans' third-year edge now. I've talked about how great I think that this Texans defense is, with Anderson and Danielle Hunter in the secondary and everything else. And yeah, Will Anderson was a really good player last year. I think he takes another step. I think that we're looking at like 15-plus sacks from Will Anderson this year. He is going to be great. He is my DPOY pick this year. Dark horse, though, we are going Leonard Williams of the Seattle Seahawks at plus 6,000. I've talked about how much I think that the Seahawks defense is going to be great. Leonard Williams is going to be the best player on this defense, in my opinion anyways. He's been, I would say last year he played the best football of his career so far. I think that Mike Macdonald has found the perfect player for his defense. For the Ravens, it would have been a Nnamdi Madubuike would have been the similar role player that Leonard Williams is playing, and I think Leonard Williams is just a better player than Madubuike. So yeah, plus 6,000 would take a lot for it to happen, but dark horse. Offensive player of the year, I am going with Jahmyr Gibbs at plus 1,100. Again, I think this Lions offense is going to just continue to roll people. It is what it is, and I think the Lions kind of realized that when David Montgomery got hurt last year, and Jahmyr Gibbs just looked unstoppable. Because Jahmyr Gibbs is unstoppable. He is electric as a runner, electric as a receiver. They can use him any which way, and it's still nice to have David Montgomery to give him a break. But Gibbs should be on the field 65-70% of the time, at least in my opinion. I think that if this Lions offense wants to continue to be one of the better ones in the NFL, Gibbs should play more of a prominent role in their offense. I think he will this year. Another pick, because it was tough to find a dark horse, but just another pick that I like, it is CeeDee Lamb of the Dallas Cowboys, obviously. Dak was hurt last year, but now they add in George Pickens, and you might be like, oh, well, that would just take away from CeeDee. No, that just opens up CeeDee more, because you have to focus your attention on George Pickens regardless. So CeeDee will continue to do what he does. I could easily see a 1,600 yard season for him. No problem. I do have again, I was excited about the Cowboys offense when I talked about them last week, and for good reason. I do think that CeeDee can have an absolutely incredible year. Now for the actual dark horse, Ladd McConkey plus 6,000. I think the Chargers offense is going to be good. I think that Ladd McConkey had a incredible rookie season that no one's really talking about, and I think that this Chargers offense got better, and I think that Ladd, now that he has more weapons around him, will free him up a little bit more. So maybe. And my MVP, I will start off with the dark horses to just build a little bit of anticipation. And I have two dark horses. So we have Baker Mayfield plus 2,500. I have picked the Bucs to make it to the Super Bowl. I'm very high on the Bucs this year. I'm very high on Baker and what this offense can do, especially when they get Godwin back. And then you're looking at a great offensive line with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Emeka Egbuka, Cade Otton, Bucky Irving, Sean Tucker, Rachaad White. They got guys on guys on guys on guys on guys. And Baker can't be happier about it. And my other dark horse is, didn't pick him for Defensive Player of the Year this year, but I will pick him for dark horse MVP. It is Aiden Hutchinson at plus 30,000. The pace that Aiden Hutchinson was on last year, he was on pace to, I think, break the season sack record. Where, yeah, he does that again. He carries the Lions defense. The Lions are a 1 seed in the NFC again. Aiden Hutchinson, 20 plus sacks, MVP. It's a little crazy, but I don't think there's less crazy bets out there, in my opinion, especially a plus 30,000. Again, I don't think it's going to happen. Putting $1 on it, though, you might as well. Might as well, in my opinion. And my official pick for the 2025 MVP is Justin Herbert. And you might be thinking, what kind of shtick? What is he planning? What is this? And I couldn't put it into good words last week of what I actually thought about this Chargers offense, but I like it. I like Amari and Hampton. I like Najee Harris as a backup change of pace. He's just solid, like Brian Robinson is for the Niners. Obviously, losing Slater sucks, but I still think that offensive line is good enough anyways. And now, with Ladd McConkey going into year 2, who, hey, I just said dark horse offensive player of the year. Keenan Allen is back, who I still think is a contributing NFL player anyways. I like Trey Harris. I like Keandre Lambert-Smith. This offense has guys. And I've talked about, I'm not a fan of this Chargers defense this year. And I thought the Chargers defense kind of carried more of the load last year than the offense did. It's the offense's turn. It's time to see this 2021 Justin Herbert back who threw for 4,500 plus yards and 30 plus TDs. Like, I want the guy who is an athlete, who does have the rocket arm. I want that guy back instead of the dink and dunk and making the safe plays. And Justin Herbert is supremely talented. We just haven't seen it. Now, further into his career, with better coaching and better weapons around him that he's had for at least a while, and with like prime Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and Austin Eckler and that stuff, but the offensive line's better and the coaching's better now. Yeah, I think Justin Herbert is poised to technically have like a second breakout year where he gets back to that form. And maybe this is me just posturing and being like, oh, if he doesn't, then that's on him. I picked him for MVP. I believed in him. Maybe it's a little bit of that. No, I do think the Chargers are going to be good, but I think it does rely on their offense for them to be good. So if Justin Herbert isn't great this year, the Chargers probably won't make the playoffs. But it's a good thing I have Justin Herbert winning MVP. Okay, that does it. Those are the awards. Those are the hot takes. My Super Bowl prediction. Good show. I'm still exhausted. It was a whirlwind of a weekend. Flying into Toronto, driving to Barrie, having a wedding. Congrats to Andrew and Christina. Driving back to Toronto from Barrie, waiting in the airport, flying back to Fredericton. Yeah, it was a busy weekend. I am tired. I have school starting next week. It's wild. I am back in school. Absolutely insane. Yeah, do I have anything else to add? I don't think I do. Anything to add? No, I don't. Other than, this doesn't really need to get talked about, but the Value Villages in Fredericton, in Barrie, absolutely slapped. I ended up with a Super Bowl 39 shirt for like $4. I have an old 76ers hat with like their old logos and stuff, like from like the early 2000s on it, which I like that better. I got that for $4. I got like a Tony Soprano style long sleeve, but the real gem of everything was I was going through the hats and I'm looking, and there was like the old Vancouver Canucks with like the blue and the red, and I was like, oh, it's a cool hat. Like, it was like $10, and I was like, it's not worth $10. It is what it is. And then flipping through the hats, keep going, and then I come up to, almost looks brand new, but it's a 1992 World Series champion Toronto Blue Jays hat. And I'm like, wow, well, if that one was $10.50, this one must be like around that too. $4. Literally looked brand new. I don't know how it came about, but yeah, I got a 1992 Super Bowl World Series champions hat. I got a Super Bowl shirt. Either way, shout out to the Barrie Value Villages. You're crushing it. I'm crushing it. I don't know where I'm going with this. That was kind of a waste of time. Thank you for listening. Next week, week 1 preview. And then we are back to 2-a-week episodes. I am so excited to be... NFL season's right around the corner again. I got a new couch coming in tomorrow. It's going to be great. Going to be great. NFL season's here. I love it. And as always, if you have liked this, please like, share, retweet, subscribe, tell your friends, all that fun stuff. And until next time, peace.